appears like we have some dysentery in the ranks. So Laura Loomer is Trump's strongest soldier, his number one soldier. This is the woman who has bust down the door in the White House and ran in and given Trump, a long rant on who the weasels are in his regime, who's not sufficiently pro-Trump, who should be fired. And for some reason, Trump takes this woman's word as gold.
Shout out to Kyle Kulinski for talking about this conversation, this situation. I'm not really a Laura Loomer. I really do not care what Laura Loomer has to say, but a couple weeks ago, it dawned on me that I should probably pay attention to what's going on with Laura Loomer. I used to think that she was just a screaming hack, but they actually do listen to what she says. And she got this guy, one of the guys that she sent the names to, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, to be, not picked to be like a national security, like deputy. This is a man who has a show on YouTube. Go ahead and check out his channel. He talks about geopolitics in a very clear fashion, talks about war in reality. And they called him a name. Y'all know the name, the A name that I can't say. And she said that he shouldn't be part of the team. And then they didn't bring him on. And so this is when I'm like, this country, I don't know what's going on anymore. I really just don't know. So she is actually Trump's number one soldier, and she's a mess. But guess what? Now she's turning on Trump. And I know, again, y'all heard Laura. Now, this should be talked about. So shout out to Kyle Kulinski. Let's go ahead and listen to Kyle Kulinski annihilate and trash Laura Loomer like she should be annihilated and trashed.
Right? He believes everything she says. He agrees with her. Clearly, she has a strong force of personality, and she can get him to bend to his will, which raises other questions about what's y'all's relationship really like, bro? I'm not saying anything in particular, but I am asking questions, right? So anyway, to the surprise of many people, including myself, she comes out the other day, and she's pissed. She's pissed at Trump. Here's what she says. This is about the $400 million luxury palace plane that Trump was given by Qatar, which he then went on to double down and defend as if it's not corrupt. Can you imagine if Joe Biden or Barack Obama took a $400 million plane from Qatar as a gift? What the fuck would the right say? On day one, there would be impeachment proceedings happening. Day one. Okay, ready? She says, how are we supposed...
He is... Oh, shoot. That is hilarious that she follows him, but he won't follow her back. By the way, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. I really sincerely hope he doesn't read the whole thing. Anyway, he's right. If it was Biden, everybody would have something to say. I do think it's a little badass that Trump is taking the jet from Qatar because, I have to get it up because there's been all this talk online about yo, if you speak against Israel, like you are literally a Qatar agent. You know what I mean? Like I've been accused of being such a thing. I'm like, bro, no, I'm like a freaking struggling actress here. But anyway, so I do think it's pretty badass. Like, whoa, what's going on with Trump? She's losing her mind over her and Mark Levin. They're losing their minds.
Supposed to ever see the U.S. under the Trump administration designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization if the U.S. is now going to accept a $400 million jet from Qatar to fly the U.S. president and his staff around on. This is something we were promised would happen during the first administration, but it never happened. Both the UAE and Saudi Arabia have designated the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization, and this week, the president will be having meetings with Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Qatar funds Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood. It's going to be hard for the administration to designate the Muslim Brotherhood and obliterate Iranian proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah when Qatar funds the Muslim Brotherhood, harbors Hamas, and the U.S. just accepted a $400 million jet from Qatar. It's very disappointing.
That's because it's not true. You dare going full okay, well, maybe in the past, but that's not, all this stuff is talking points. This whole paragraph right here is talking points. What Muslim Brotherhood? There's no Muslim Brotherhood. If there was a Muslim Brotherhood, Palestinians wouldn't be sitting here getting blown to smithereens every day, right? Okay, I'm not Muslim, and I have Muslim family, and I have Muslim squad deep, like for real. And they'll tell you the Ummah is not. I don't want to speak on this, but because I just don't feel like it's my place. But I wish there was, but there's not. Okay, and that's just a fact. I'm not going to say what I wish. I'm just pointing out what I wish there was right here. That's not the case, though.
It's also worth noting that President Trump just signed an executive order on April 23rd requiring U.S. educational institutions to disclose the source of their funding. Guess where most of that foreign funding is coming from? Qatar and Saudi Arabia.
Actually, no, it's probably mostly coming from like Bill Ackman and stuff like that. But let's keep going.
The biggest lobby in D.C. is the Qatar lobby. We are watching an Islamic takeover of our country in real time. Okay, so a few things here. First of all, you will never, ever, 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 ever hear Laura Loomer talk about Israeli influence in our politics, which at this point is way more severe than that of Qatar. Now, Qatar is doing their best to catch up with the $400 million jet they're just giving to Trump. But Trump took $100 million from Miriam Adelson, $200 million from Sheldon Adelson, countless more millions from the Israel lobby in general. And that is why he said, yeah, I don't give a fuck, violate international law. We're going to let Israel officially annex the Golan Heights, even though that's Syrian territory. That's why he moved the embassy to Jerusalem. That's why he's greenlit anything and everything that Netanyahu wants to do. That's why he said, we're going to own Gaza, we're going to take it, because he's owned by the Israel. She'll never say a word about the Israel lobby, but Qatar, oh, all of a sudden, there's a problem. Now,
that's the new talking. I'm telling you, it's Qatar that everybody needs to be afraid for, and all of this, and it's like it's Qatar. It's Qatar. It's like, no, he's right about everything he just said. Though this week again, I don't know what's going on with Trump because he's been saying some really weird things, and I'm like, no. If you know the history of America and Israel, you know that it doesn't happen that fast. But people are acting like, yeah, base Trump. He's saving us. He's getting us out of this unholy alliance. It's like, it does not work like that. It just simply doesn't. Laura Loomer has nothing wrong about that. She said there's nothing wrong to her about that, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she doesn't think anything's wrong about that. But these are the America First people. We'll listen to a little bit more.
If you'd like to be principled, there are many of us here who are principled who would say, yeah, I'm against Qatari money in our politics and Israeli money in our politics, and I'm against big money in politics in general. I don't want any billionaire money whatsoever, right? I don't want any multinational corporation money whatsoever. Get rid of the fucking super PACs. Let's stop the nonsense, right? But she's not principled. She's not. Okay, but I'm not done. So she keeps going. She says, I love President Trump. I would take a bullet for him. But I have to call a spade a spade. We cannot accept a $400 million gift from jihadists in suits. The Qataris fund the same Iranian proxies in Hamas and Hezbollah who have murdered U.S. service members. The same proxies that have worked with the Mexican cartels to get jihadists across our border. That is the fakest thing I've ever heard in my life. This is really going to be such a stain on the administration if this is true. And I say that as someone who would take a bullet for Trump. I'm so disappointed. All right, so again, let's be clear about something. If it was the government of Israel that gave Trump a $400 million jet, she wouldn't say shit about it, and she'd be totally fine with it. Let's be clear about that. But number two, what? She actually is clearly and straightforwardly disagreeing with him on this issue. She's saying, this is bad, this is not right, and you shouldn't do it. Now, I cannot get out of this segment without stating the obvious reality, which is what? We've seen this so many times with so many different right-wing figures, right? We've seen Joe Rogan do this. We've seen Alex Jones do this. We've seen sloppy Steve Bannon is probably number one at this trick, which is what? Come out there every now and then and offer some tepid criticism on a particular issue, right? And then within the same day, or if not within the same day, certainly the next day, you go right back to acting like Trump never did anything wrong.
Okay, so, all right, Kyle. Now, this girl just said she'd take a bullet for him, okay? I mean, that's insane. We're not voting anymore now. We're taking bullets for these people. I mean, that's just absolutely insane. And you know what? It's something I should probably tweet about because we cannot sit here and act like this is normal to even say, I'll take a bullet for somebody. Okay, anyway. So, Kyle, no, she's not going to change her mind in 2 seconds. Somebody just said she's going to take a bullet for Trump. So people don't change their mind like that. So I'll just say, Kyle, don't hold your breath on that. But you never know with this topic, she might. It'd be good to see what comes first. And believe me, I don't think that Laura should be taking bullets for Trump. To be honest, I would like for Laura to live her life and find a good man and still speak about politics, right? But understand that there's more to life than Trump. This girl said one time, women, if Trump doesn't win, women don't need to get married and have children. And I was like, oh, I don't feel like that. This is like back when I was like thinking I was gonna vote for Trump. I was like, nah, I don't feel like that, bro. I was like, like those two things do not correlate to me. So she's insane. So no, it's not gonna work like that. But I'm happy that he touched on her. Insane. She's like losing her mind. Mark Levin doing the same thing. It's hilarious.